for the world, based on the work that I've been doing for about 25 years with Joanna Macy, a professor from California, and others, where we explore the taboo against feeling in this culture, and in particular the taboo against the so-called bad feelings such as grief, fear and anger, and the consequences that suppressing these feelings has in dulling our intelligence and in leaving us feeling helpless and hopeless and disempowered. I look at the evolutionary history of these feelings, that we come into the world already equipped with these feelings. It's through these feelings that good decisions have been made, decisions that lead to survival, decisions that allowed our ancestors to make intelligent choices. Any mammal that ran towards something wagging its tail when it should have been running away as fast as it could doesn't leave its genes in the gene pool. In other words, the accuracy of these feelings, or intuitions, or instincts, or whatever you call them, it's been a very important part of our survival mechanism. Now, thought claims to have replaced this. Thought claims to be the only kind of intelligence, and indeed thought is critical of emotion as leading to irrationality. But when I first became interested in environmentalism 30 years ago, I thought that all that we had to do was to create awareness, to raise awareness, and that once people understood what was happening, then everything would be okay. But now, 30 years later, everyone does understand what's happening and very little has changed. I propose that a large reason for this is because the necessary passion to go along with these ideas is missing, because it's been suppressed along with the feelings. Deep ecology and the conservation of nature. Deep ecology is a philosophy of nature that looks at the underlying psychological or spiritual disease that allows modern humans to imagine that we can somehow profit from the destruction of our own life support systems. The illusion of separation between human beings and the rest of the natural world. I was part of the direct actions that led to the protection of New South Wales's subtropical rainforests in 1981, Tasmania's temperate rainforests in 1982, and North Queensland's tropical rainforests in 85-86. During those years, in spite of successes in Australia and other places, for every forest that was saved, 1,000 forests disappeared around the world, and it became clear that we couldn't save the planet one forest at a time. That unless we could address this underlying spiritual dimension to the environmental crisis, protecting a little piece here and a little piece there wasn't going to amount to anything. So deep ecology was a term coined by the professor of philosophy from Oslo University, Arne Næss, to describe this line of inquiry. And according to Næss, this sense that we have of being almost alien and separate from the rest of the natural world stems from anthropocentrism, or human-centeredness, the idea that we human beings are the centre of everything. So we are supposedly the crown of creation, we are the measure of all being. Only man was created in God's image, the rest of nature was not. Only human beings have a soul. In fact, only human beings have intrinsic value. Everything else has merely instrumental value if it happens to be a resource for human beings. And due to this incredible arrogance and seeing human beings at the centre of everything comes this illusion of separation that leads to the destruction of nature. So once again, with Joanna Macy and others, I've been developing experiential processes that allow us to move beyond having ecological ideas and move into having an ecological identity, an ecological self, so that we're able to change ourselves at a deeper level, to the level where our values actually change and our behaviour changes. You know, every Indigenous culture has ceremonies and rituals whereby the human community regularly remembers our interconnectedness with the rest of the Earth community, and by remembering and respecting this interconnectedness with the children present, so that the children are learning that we are part of the Earth, that we're not superior to the Earth, that we're not separate from the Earth. This is maintained as a cultural force. We modern people may be the first culture in the history of humankind that has, in our arrogance, dispensed with these, considering them to be merely mumbo-jumbo or primitive or superstitious or something like that. And the result of this is writ large upon the world, with the incredible destruction and despoliation of the world that only we have ever allowed it to get so out of hand. Defrocking the religion of economics. I make the case that economics is not a science at all, that in fact it's the most pious religion that the world has ever known, and is entirely based upon unproven and unprovable tenets of faith, such as infinite growth is possible on a finite planet and things like this. It's through it being able to audaciously disguise itself as being secular that it gains its power, including its power to lay all of the natural systems of the world to waste, because the earth itself has no value, according to classical economics, until we humans add our labour and our intelligence to it. The earth itself is just dirt until we dig it up and turn it into something else. I believe that it's very important to criticise economics, to ridicule economics, to point out the fact that the emperor has no clothes, because we're basically fighting on an uneven playing field. The deck has been stacked, the dice have been loaded, and whatever the environmental issue, the economic case is always stacked against nature. From the point of view of the religion of economics, advertising then becomes religious education. And I pointed out that more money is spent on religious education worldwide than on all other forms of education combined. So there's a huge amount of energy and effort and intelligence that goes into convincing everybody that they need all of this shit, that if we finally consume enough, that we're going to finally get to a place where we're not longing for whatever's going to come next. I think one of the things that we have to do in order to be truly sustainable is to find ways of feeling excited and satisfied and abundant and a sense of well-being that doesn't require jet skis and aeroplanes and things like this. All of the consuming that's going on is costing the earth. It becomes very important to not only try and save this place and save that place, but also to really look at the philosophical and spiritual underpinnings of this slide towards oblivion that humankind seems to be on at the moment.